In this tutorial, we're going to create the box plots for our quantitative variables. So we'll do this for living area and fireplaces, and then you can do sale price as part of your homework. So the first thing that we need to do is create this box plot for living area. The process is very similar to creating the histogram and how we select the data and the tool. We're going to click on column letter A right above living area so it highlights that whole column. Then we're going to go to the insert panel right up here next to the home ribbon and select the box and whisker plot from our chart tools. Remember, all our charts here, statistics charts are right here in the middle, and we want the box and whisker plot. Okay, now let's scroll down and put this box plot right underneath the histogram. Okay, there's a couple things we need to clean up. Okay, we only have a vertical axis for the box plot. Since we have a vertical box plot, we don't have a horizontal axis. In fact, there's this number 1 down here that's a bit confusing. It's not communicating information. There's not adding any value to the chart, so we can go ahead and remove it. I'm going to click on that letter 1, and then after I've clicked on it, if I just click the delete key, it will take it away. The next thing we're going to do is add that vertical axis title. So click in the chart, and there's a couple places you can do this, either by using this plus sign icon to the right for chart elements or the add chart elements drop down up here. Either way you want to do it is fine. I'll click on the plus sign and come to my axis titles. Now I don't just want to check the box, it's going to give me a title for both the horizontal and vertical axis, and I only need one for the vertical axis. So I'll click this little arrow over to the side and just check the box for primary vertical. Now the vertical axis of a box plot does not represent the number of homes sold like it does in a histogram. It actually represents the distribution of the variable itself. So this axis is representing the living area in square feet and how that variable is distributed through its quartiles. So let's change this axis title here to represent living area in square feet. Better. The other thing we need to do, obviously, with all of our tables and graphs is give it a nice descriptive title. This is representing the box plot distribution of living area. And we'll put the sample size since there's nowhere else it's represented within the visualization. All right, we can then just clean it up. Very similar to our other visualizations, however you'd like, but at the end of the day, this is the minimum requirement for an A. All we need is a visualization that communicates the information well, is descriptive in its labeling, and easy to read. I'll go ahead and add my kind of customization formatting. So everything looks consistent throughout my analysis. Now let's talk about the differences between how the histogram and the box plot show the distribution of this variable. If we look up at the histogram, we can see we have lots of individual bars that are going across that continuous number line. If you look at each of the labels underneath the bar, you'll see a range of data. Okay, all the histogram is doing is creating a bucket or a bin, a range of values that we can then sort the observations into. So if we were to look at the histogram, we can see for this bar right here, let's isolate that one, okay, that there are approximately 50 homes in the data set that have a square footage between 2005 and 2145. So each of these bins spans 140 square feet, and it's just sorted each of the square footage observations into those bins to show us the number of houses that fall within those range. So it shows us how this variable is distributed across the range of values for the living area variable. On the other hand, we have the box plot down here. Okay, this also represents living area in square feet. Okay, but it's not binning or bucketing values. We can't actually see how many houses are represented in the data. If we were to add data labels on our histogram, they would all add up to 1,521, but there's nowhere that we could represent that with a box plot. The box plot's job is to show the distribution of the variable through its quartiles. Okay, we learned about this in lecture. This first line on the bottom side of the box is quartile 1. This middle line inside the box is quartile 2, or also the median. This third line at the top of the box is quartile 3. So this is the interquartile range, is the range of this box. Okay, and then it shows us how the rest of the values are distributed. If there's no outliers, then the whisker will go to the minimum value, so 605. If there are outliers, then it's going to draw a line at the next value in the data that's not considered an outlier. Okay, so all these dots above the line are outliers, and this is the next largest value in the data that is not considered an outlier based on the overall distribution. Okay, we do have some outliers up here that we've left in the data, only have taken care of that very extreme outlier because there's other ways that we can reduce the skewness of this variable through a data transformation since the skewness is not so extreme. Okay, so just the different ways that we're able to communicate the distribution of living area through 2 different visualizations. Now let's create the box plot for fireplaces. Same process, click on the letter above the fireplace column, come to our insert ribbon, come to our charts panel, and we're going to select the box and whiskers tool. Now, all we need to do, we can remove this unnecessary 1. We can give it a vertical axis title, okay? And this axis title will be number of fireplaces. Per house, not the total number of fireplaces. Well, I guess total fireplaces per house. But not overall. Okay, we'll give it a nice descriptive title. Box plot distribution of living area. And then our sample size. All right, next thing, we'll do our shading. This is optional. Just want to make sure all my visualizations are consistent and uniform throughout my presentation so that I have a nice professional looking cohesive report. Alrighty, so there's box plots, there's our histograms, okay, each communicating something a little bit different about the distribution. And then we have our numerical summaries up here that give us information on how the variable is distributed as well. So this concludes the quantitative univariate analysis. The last thing that we need to do is do some interpretation around this so that we can actually communicate into words what is being displayed in the pictures.